Thank you for joining us for today's expert webinar titled Compute in AWS. I am Abhishek from SpringPeople. We are India's largest enterprise training provider. I will be your moderator for today's session. In today's session, we have Mr. Parul Kundra with us, a prominent figure in the world of cloud computing and AWS. With an illustrious career spanning over 15 years, he boasts a remarkable list of qualifications and accomplishments. Mr. Kundra's skill set extends to SQL and PL/SQL, demonstrating his prowess in database management as well. He is also a proficient problem solver using Python, C, and C++, and have a solid grasp of data structures, showcasing his versatility in the world of programming and technology. Having conducted over 100 AWS corporate training sessions, Mr. Kundra specializes in preparing individuals for certifications such as Solution Architect, Advanced Architect, Cloud Practitioners, and System Ops Associate. His training methods are renowned for their effectiveness. In today's webinar, Mr. Parul Kundra will let us know about evolution of compute in AWS, launch configuration of EC2, hands-on lab on server creation, Lambda overview. To all the participants, you can mention your questions in the chat box and it will be answered at the end of the session. Without further ado, let's start today's session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Parul Kundra to start the session. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you for the introduction, and I welcome you all to today's session on compute in AWS. So let's start with the session. Okay, so compute in AWS. What is compute in AWS? So there are so many compute services which are provided by AWS. The first where we work on, where our applications runs, is our servers, virtual machines. Then we have some uh, serverless services, which we are going to talk today on Lambda. Other than that, we have containers, we have Fargate, we have so many things. But yes, today we are going to have an introduction of compute in AWS. Let's start. So agenda, as Abhishek already discussed, we are going to talk on compute services, Amazon Elastic Compute EC2 instances. We are going to create one server, one virtual machine in front of you. And what are different pricing options that, if we are actually creating EC2 instances, we are actually creating virtual machine servers, then what are their pricing options which we are getting? Are we getting any kind of discounts so that we can optimize the cost, which is the major thing, which is a part of any good work. And now and then we'll talk on Lambda overview. So let's start. So evolution of AWS compute. So how compute started? So it started from pre-cloud, and then in 2006 virtualization came. Now in virtualization, what happened? We started in AWS EC2. EC2 stand for Elastic Compute Cloud. So EC2. So that is nothing but our virtual machines. Then in 2014, containerization came. And in order to orchestrate these containers, we have a container service called Amazon ECS. That came in year 2014. And these containers are majorly used for microservices. You talk about big applications like Amazon Prime, Netflix, Facebook, all these applications are moving from monolithic to microservices, and containers are helping to achieve those microservices in a great extent. Then in 2014, a serverless service, which is called Lambda, we are going to discuss today, came. Then 2017, Fargate. Fargate is nothing but a serverless platform for hosting containerized application. So you can host containers on EC2, but let's say if you are not interested on hosting your container on EC2, then you can host your container on serverless service called Fargate. Now you must be thinking what serverless I'm talking about. Serverless where you need not to provision anything. AWS will do it for you. And today I'm going to show you. And after that, in 2020 onwards, AWS started preparing their own processors called Graviton processors, which are specialized processors. Now, what is EC2? So EC2 instances. Now, physical server host EC2 instances in AWS region around the world. Then why am I reading my slide? Am I here to read the slide? No. Now, what exactly happens in AWS? Let me tell you, my dear friends, in AWS, till today, we have 33 regions. The day we are going with the webinar, we have 32 regions in the world. In India only, we are in two places. One we are in Mumbai, and one we are in Hyderabad. Hyderabad. And other than that, we have total 31 regions other than India. So total we have 33 regions. Now under regions, we have availability zones. So Mumbai has 3 availability zone, AZ1, AZ2, AZ3, like this. Hyderabad also has a 3 availability zones. Under availability zone, we have cluster of data centers. We have data centers. Now, when am I going? I'm going to create one server today. So what I'll be doing? I'll be first selecting a region. Then in that region, I'll be selecting availability zone. Then after this, AWS takes care. Then one data center will be selected. And in that data center, there will be so many racks. And in racks, there will be so many huge servers. And in that server, I'm going to create one EC2. That is Elastic Compute Cloud, one instance. So what am I doing? Actually, am I doing a virtualization? So that is, this line is saying physical servers. So these are big physical server. Let's say capacity of this server is 30 CPUs and 30 GB of RAM, or let's say 300 GB of RAM. So these are physical servers, and that are going to host what? EC2 instances. So these are going to host EC2 instance in AWS regions, which I told you, around the world. And in the world, I'm choosing Mumbai. You can choose North Virginia, whatever you want, you can choose it. What happened then? EC2 instances give you secure and resizable compute capacity. Now you have a different compute capacity. You want 10 CPU, you want 1 CPU, you want 10 GB RAM, you want 40 GB RAM, whatever your requirement is, you can select accordingly. So EC2 instances give you secure and resizable compute capacity. And other than that, if you want, you can add also and remove also compute. Now, why, Parul? Why will I be adding and removing? Now, I'm giving you example of Flipkart, Amazon Prime Day sale. Any kind of sale, when you talk of, when a sale comes for 5 days, let's say sale start from today, 11th of January till 15th of January. And in India, we have 26th of January, our Republic Day. So during that time, sale is coming for 5 days. So for 5 days, the traffic will increase. I need to increase the capacity. And after 15th of January, I would like to decrease the capacity because I would not be needing servers anymore. In that case, I'll be adding and removing the servers. And this is called auto scaling. And this is called auto scaling. This is called auto scaling. That automatically server will come in picture when traffic will increase, and when traffic will decrease, automatically server will go down. So I can add and remove the capacity to meet the changes in demand. That is what I wanted to teach you. Okay. Now, EC2 launch consideration. I'm going to create one server for you. Now, if I'm going to create servers, what I have to keep in mind? I have to keep in mind these things: name and tags, application and OS image, instance type and size, key pair, network security, storage, placement group and tenancy, user data and metadata. My God, Parul, so many things. And let me tell you, Parul, I'm not understanding what these things are. So I am saying, I'm writing in this slide, I will come back. I will come back after, let's say, 20 minutes. So after 20 to 25 minutes, I'll come back to this slide. And when I will come back to this slide, I promise you, you all will be saying that, oh yes, these all 8 things which is written over here is clear to us. So I'm going to make you perfect in creating servers, virtual machine, or you can say EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Now I am not going to scroll any other slide. Let's jump to a demo. Let's jump to a lab. So here is my AWS console. You can see myself, Parul Kundra. Where I am right now, I am in North Virginia. I told you total there are 33 regions in the world. In United States, we have North Virginia, Ohio, California, and Oregon. And in Asia Pacific, we in India, we are only in 2 places, Mumbai and Hyderabad. So if anybody asks you from today, if you know, it's very good. If you don't know, let me tell you, in India, we are in 2 places. One, we are in Mumbai, and one we are in Hyderabad. Fine. So let's go and create a server in Mumbai. So first of all, or in North Virginia. So whatever you want, you can do. So let me select Mumbai. So I selected Mumbai. And what I have to do, I have to create a server. So in a search bar, I'm going to write EC2, because what is, you read this, virtual server in the cloud. So EC2 is nothing but a virtual server in the cloud. So let me click on EC2. So I clicked on EC2. Now you can see one of my server is already running. You can see this SpringPeople server is already running, and I'm going to create one more server today. So I'm going to create one SpringPeople second server for you. So when you are inside EC2, there are so many things which you can do, right? Which I told you right now, auto scaling. You can create auto scaling also. But first, let's start. We are here for understanding compute. So once you are inside EC2, click on this orange button, launch instances. When you click on this orange button, launch instances, here is name and tag. You give name of your server. So I give Spring People, People, people 2. So I'm giving a server name as Spring People 2. If I want, I can give additional tags also. I can give 49 more tags. See, 49 more tag I can give. Let's say tomorrow SpringPeople wanted to know that how many servers are running for production, how many servers are running for testing, how many servers are running in uh, you know uh, development team. So company wanted to have a proper tagging policy. So there is a proper tagging policy. So you can add more tags. So let's say I add tag as team, and value key is team, and value is, let's say, production. So this server belongs to production. So production. So tomorrow when SpringPeople wanted to search how many servers are running in production, they'll simply type production, and this SpringPeople 2 will reflect in production. Now, second thing, first is name and tags. Second is what server you wanted to create: Linux, Mac, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat. So like this, there are n number of servers. What do you want to create? I want to go with Linux. So today I'm taking an example of Linux. So I'm going with Linux. Now, if you are going with Linux, Parallel, then what AMI you want? Like if you, Parallel, you go with Windows, so there are so many AMI. AMI means Amazon Machine Images. When I click here, oh my God. So Microsoft Windows Server 2022, 22 core base, 2019 core base. Like this, so many AMIs are there. Similarly, when I select Linux, I have so many AMIs with me. So what I wanted to go with? I wanted to go with free tier one. So let me take Amazon 2023. Now you must be thinking, what is this free tier? I'm going to tell you, just wait for 2 minutes or 5 minutes. After this, yes, what I told you, that after this, after giving name and tags, selecting what instance you wanted to create Linux, which AMI, then comes, hey, Mr. Kundra, what instance type and what is this T2 micro? So let me tell you one thing very clearly, my dear friend. So what happens, just give me 1 minute. Yeah. So this is my Epic pen, and by which I can able to write from. Right. Okay. So see this instance type. So there are 5 families, more than 5, but I'm discussing 5 only here. So there are 5 families. So one is, let's say, journal purpose. Then we have storage optimized. We have compute optimized. We have memory optimized, and we have accelerated computing. So for what purpose we have? You think about your days. When you were a student, you purchase one laptop. There you might be looking for 4 GB of RAM or some i3. Then when you went and join a company, then you look for i5, and let's say you look for 16 GB of RAM. Now when you got a new project, you purchase a laptop accordingly, or your company gave you. Similarly, exactly in the same sense, what kind of workload you have, you go with that family instance type. So general purpose are mixed of compute and memory, and they are represented with a symbol T type or M type. Okay, Parul. So if I'm not wrong, T2 micro means this belong to general purpose. Absolutely correct. Storage optimized, when you are dealing with data warehouse kind of thing, when you need to do so many input and output, that is, you need to perform IOPS, input output operations per second, then you go with storage optimized systems, and these type of systems are represented by I type. Compute, you wanted to go with high performance computing, you wanted to go with batch processing, you go with compute optimized systems, they are represented by C type. Memory optimized system, when you want to create a high-end databases where you need to access memory very fast, so you need high memory, not storage, memory, you go with memory optimized systems, and they are represented by R type. And when you have a graphic kind of workload, you go with accelerated computing, and they are represented by G type. But Parul, I'm not getting what is this T2 micro. So let me write T2 dot micro. The meaning of this is T, the first character belongs to family, so it's belong to general purpose. Correct, Parul? What is this? This is generation, second generation. Okay. And what is after dot? Size. So size is micro. So micro, it could be large, it could be 12x large, it could be nano. So let me show you. You see this. Now, when you click here, now you see this, my dear friend. Oh, T2 Nano, yes, 1 CPU, 0.5 GB of RAM. T2 Micro, 1 CPU, 1 GB of memory. Scroll down. No, C type. See this. C5 4x large. So C, compute family, fifth generation, size is 4x large. Means 16 CPU, 32 GB of RAM, and they are showing you price also, on-demand price also. Similarly, when you go down, you get C type, R type, no, different type, no, D type, I type, no, M type. Like this, you have n number of system, R type, which I told you, R5, no, and D is an additional attribute. So R, can you see this? R type 512 GB. R belongs to memory optimized. Memory optimized. So many memories are there. Okay. Now I'm selecting T2 micro. When I'm selecting T2 micro, why Parul T2 micro? It's a free tier. Now, what is free tier? When you create your account for 1 year, again I'm repeating, when you create your account, you for 1 year you get some system free of cost, and every month 750 hours means 31. You see this, your first year includes 750 hours of T2 micro or T3 micro. So these category belongs to free tier. I'm going with free tier. Now, hey Parul, do you want to protect your system? Yes. Do you want to create a key pair to access your system? Yes. Or you can proceed without key pair. But I wanted to create a key pair. So I'm going with key pair. So I'll click on create key pair, and I'm creating Spring SP key pair, SpringPeople key pair, and I'm going to use putty. So I'm going with PPK file. So you can do SSH. What is SSH? Secure Socket Shell. You can go with .pem file also, .ppk. Today we are using .ppk file. Let me click on create key pair. So I created key pair. So key pair created. Now, after that, hey, now if you, I don't know whether you have attended my previous webinar or not. There I have discussed lot on VPC and everything. So I'm going to select VPC. So in networking section, I'll click on edit. Hey, you are creating a system. Yes. Which system? SpringPeople 2 system. Okay. So yeah, SpringPeople 2 system. So in which VPC you are going to put your system? Virtual private cloud. I'm going to put in. So there are so many VPCs: DXC VPC, SpringPeople VPC, Vanguard VPC. So I'm going to choose default VPC. So I'm choosing a default VPC. Okay. So any kind of subnet preference, as I told you, Mumbai has 3 availability zone. If I click here, 1, 2, 3. So you can see this availability zone, availability zone, availability zone. So I'm going with availability zone 1. So I'm keeping my system in region inside one availability zone. Do you want to give public IP? Yeah, I want to give public IP. So I'm giving a public IP to my system. Now, after this, security group. Hey, Parul, do you want to protect your system so that only from the port which you will opening will only able to access your system? Otherwise, your system will not be accessible. Do you want to protect it via security group? Do you want to create, or do you want to leave it like this. I want to create a security group. So what I read, so I'm creating Spring People security group 1. Okay, and any description, yeah, I'm giving description as security. Okay, now what port you want to open? Where I am sitting right now, I'm sitting in Delhi. I'm right now sitting in Delhi, where I'm creating my system Mumbai. So in order to remotely access my system, I'm using one protocol SSH, Secure Socket Shell, because I want to access this from remotely. If it is a Windows, then I'll be opening RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol. So I'm using SSH. Any other security group, Parul? Yeah. Any other rule? Yeah. I want to open one more port, HTTP. Why? Because I'm going to create one HTML page and I'm going to access my system from browser. So I'm opening HTTP port 80. Yeah. From where, Parul? I said from anywhere. So I'm pasting anywhere. Okay. Now what am I going to do at last? So these things are over. Let me give a quick revision. So what I did, I have given name and tag to my system. Then I have selected Amazon Linux, this AMI. After this, what I went for instance type, which is T2 micro. So why T2 micro? Because it's a free tier, and for 1 year I'll be getting free of cost. Any key pair? Yeah, I created one key pair. Okay. Which VPC you are putting your system? I'm putting in a default VPC. Any subnet? I'm putting in a availability zone 1. Do you want to enable or disable public IP? I want to give public IP. So I'm enabling public IP. Do you want to create a security group? I'm creating a security group. And in your security group, which port you are opening? I'm opening one SSH port 22 and HTTP port 80. Okay. After that, what storage you want? So Parul, by default, we are giving you 8 GB. We are giving you 8 GB because for Linux, this 8 GB is sufficient. Root volume. What is this GP3? General purpose. Like when today we go and buy a laptop, we buy SSD laptop or we buy HDD laptop. We have two options. Similarly, when you create a server, you have two options. You see this. These GP3, GP2, IO1, IO2, all are SSD. Or you can go with HDD. I'm going with SSD. And if I'm a free customer, eligible customer, I'll be getting 30 GB free per 30 GB free for 1 year. So I'm going with this 8 GB. If you want to create D drive also, you can click add. So this is your C drive where your lap installation will be done. You want D drive also, you can go with D drive. You want other drive also, you can go with other drive also. Now I'm asking one question from all of you. You can put it in our chat box. How many EBS? What is EBS? Elastic block storage. How many EBS I can attach to my system? Again, I'm repeating my question. You can put it in a chat box. I'll see to it later. How many EBS I can attach to my system? I'm creating one system right now. How many maximum? How many maximum? Fine. So I'm just choosing C drive. Now going down to advanced detail, and in advanced detail, we are going to talk on three things. Now in three things, we have one first things is tenancy. So if I click on tenancy, there are three types of tenancy: shared tenancy, dedicated instance, and dedicated host. Let me tell you, I was in Hyderabad and I was taking care of Deloitte. And when I was asking them tenancy, maximum of them were not aware of tenancy. And let me tell you, if you don't know tenancy, you will not be able to help your organization for cost. Again, I'm repeating my sentence. If you don't know tenancy, you will not be able to help your organization for cost. Because tenancy describe how your instances are distributed in the hardware. That is tenancy. So we have three types of tenancy: shared tenancy, dedicated, and dedicated host. Now, when you are sharing the space, that is called shared tenancy. Now, I'm giving you a layman example, and by that layman example, you will never forget in your life what is tenancy. Let me tell you, people with 14 years of experience, 13 years of 10 years of experience, they are confused in tenancy. And I'm going to make you tenancy perfect. Now, what happens? Today, you got a chance, I got a chance to visit Bangalore. And when I went Bangalore, I went for a hotel and I asked him, hey, what is the cost of a room per day? He said, Parul, it is going to cost you 7,000 rupees per day. I said, oh my God, I have only 2,500 in my pocket. So then manager says, okay, I have a room. There are 3 beds. I can give you one bed for 2,500, but that two are occupied by some other person. So obviously I'm just paying 2,500. and I'm getting a space to sleep, to live, and but I'm sharing the space. Such kind of tenancy is called shared tenancy. So when you are creating, today we are creating an instance. What? We are creating a T2 micro. And what is T2 micro? One CPU and 1 GB of RAM. And I have a big server. And big server capacity is, let's say, 30 CPU and 30 GB of RAM. And out of which I'm creating one SpringPeople server which require only one CPU and 1 GB of RAM. So I'm creating SpringPeople server of 1 Still 29 is remaining. So I can create n number of servers here. Such a placement, such a distribution is called shared tenancy. Second time I went, I got a chance to visit Bangalore or United States. When I went and he asked 7,000, this time SpringPeople is sponsoring me everything. They said, Parul, you are not going to share anything. We are going to sponsor you. I said, thank you, SpringPeople. So I went to a hotel. He said 7,000. I said, okay, 7,000. I'm going to give you 7,000, but I'm not going to share. Either there are 3 bed, 4 bed, 5 bed. I'm not going to share. All these bed are for me. This is called dedicated instance. And then we have, now after that, when I went to this room and when I opened the window of this room, the outside view was awesome. When I saw outside view, I said, wow, what's a view it is. Now, second time when I'll come to this hotel, I will take this room 201 room. After 1 week, I again got a chance to visit Bangalore. I went a same hotel. He said, sir, 7,000. I said, okay, but I want 201. Sir, sorry, 201 is not available. Why? Sir, how can you say this? You came one day, you checked out. Next time you're coming after 1 week. How can we reserve it for you? Have you paid any extra amount for it? No. Then, sir, there is. If you are come next time, it is no surety you will get the same room. Similarly, if I want the same hardware every time, either I'm stopping or restarting my server, then I will go with dedicated host. So in dedicated host, you every time you get the same hardware. Now I'm very sure you must be thinking, why, Parul? Why shared tenancy is less in cost, then dedicated instance is higher, and the highest is dedicated host? Then Parul, why will I go with dedicated host? Because in dedicated host, let's say you are having a license and every time your hardware is changing, can you use your license? If you are having a Oracle license with you and you want to use same license in cloud, can you use the license if your hardware is changing every time? No. In that case, dedicated host is the tenancy which you are going to choose it. Now, why I was saying that if you don't know the price, if you don't know the tenancy, you will not be able to help your organization. Now you go with AWS pricing calculator. When you go with AWS pricing calculator, my dear friends, and when you click on AWS pricing calculator, let me show you this also. When you click on create estimate, and for which region I want to know the price in, let's say, Mumbai. So you select Mumbai. So I want to know the price in Mumbai. What service? I want to know the price in of EC2. So you write EC2. So EC2 came here. Click on configure. When you click on configure, see the first thing it is asking you before you go and select how many CPU and everything. First of all, tell me what tenancy you want. Shared, dedicated instance, or dedicated host. That's why I was telling you, if you don't know the tenancy, how will you understand the price? So please make a note of it. If you don't know tenancy, you don't know anything. Tenancy is the must thing. So you want to go with shared instance, dedicated instance, or dedicated host. This will decide your pricing. So this is going to decide your pricing, and I have made a proper slide for it. You see this? I'm covering everything. So we have shared tenancy, which I've already covered, dedicated instance, and dedicated host. What is dedicated host? Control your hardware. What is dedicated instance? Isolate. You are isolating your hardware. You are not sharing, but you have no control on hardware. Shared, you are sharing a hardware. So it is less in cost. So what is tenancy? It defines how EC2 instances are distributed across physical hardware, and it affects the pricing. That is what I told you. I've also covered this general purpose, memory optimized, storage optimized, compute, and accelerated computing. So the way I'm teaching you, I'm covering everything. I am covering everything. Now I'm going back to launch a system. So by default, if you don't select, shared will be selected. Now then you have a placement group. Now what is placement group? There are three type of placement group. Means how you are placing your EC2 instances. Let's say you are creating 10 EC2 instances. So how you are placing your 10 EC2 instances. So like tenancy, we have three type of placement group. The one placement group is called spread placement group. One is called cluster, and one is called partition. So we have three type of placement group. Let's say I am creating 9 EC2 instances, and I'm placing all 9 EC2 instances in same availability zone. Why? Because I want high performance computing. I'm creating a grid computing. In that case, I'm going to choose cluster placement group. But what is the drawback of this? If one availability zone goes down due to any catastrophic reason, your entire infra will go down. So this is where cluster is not very beneficial if you have a critical workload. So if you have a critical workload, go with spread. When you are choosing spread, your instances are scattered in different availability zone. 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3 like this. Because if this goes down, you still have instances running in other availability zone. This is called spread. And then you have a partition. When you want combination of both cluster and spread, then you go with partition. So partition is a combination of both. So let me show you this. When you click on create placement group, so you have a three type of placement group. When you click on create placement group, see my dear friend, what strategy? Cluster, spread, and partition. Now coming down, at last we have this. One of you said, Parul, I wanted to create one HTML page and I wanted to have a Apache installed during the time of creation of my server. I said, then you can type few commands. You can type few commands, and with that few commands, you can install whatever you want. So let me copy this command and I'm pasting in a user data. Whatever you want, you can do it like, if you don't want, you do it later. So what am I doing? I'm installing what? Apache. HTTPD is Apache. -y is for yes. And whatever you want to create, you can create. So I'm writing, hi, we are the best training provider. TRAINING training provider. PROVIDER. We are the best provider. SpringPeople. SpringPeople. So I'm choosing this. So what I'm creating? I'm creating one HTML page with H1 header, ensemble, and I'm starting my enabling and starting my server. Things are done. Things are done. I've covered everything. Now I'm going to simply click on launch instance. Simple. So I click and my system is creating. So where? Mumbai. Which availability zone? Availability zone 1. Fine. What tenancy I have chosen? I have chosen spread. I've chosen shared. Even I have not chosen, but by default it goes to. You see, SpringPeople 2 server is coming in picture. This is the instance ID, which is unique. My system is in a pending state, and the server which I have selected is T2 Micro. I'll wait for my system to be healthy. So this is how I created my system. Now let me show you few things. Now when I click on my server, I'll get a complete information. This is complete information. Parul, your server ID is this. Okay. So I'm choosing the previous which I have created because now it has started running. But I'm showing you the previous one because I don't want it to waste any of your time. So this is my instance ID. This is the public IP because I have enabled public IP. This is the private IP which I'm getting from my VPC. The CIDR of my VPC was 172.31.0.0/16. From that, I'm getting one IP. So this is the DNS, and like this, I'm getting everything. So every information I'm getting. Fine. Now, if I wanted to know the security, I'll click on security. It is giving me security group information. Parul, you have opened two port number 22 and port number 80, and from anywhere. So this is what I did. Now let me go and click on public IP. So if I go and click on my public IP, so if I copy my public IP and if I paste here a public IP, let me paste and let me press enter. Yeah, the HTML page which I have created in my previous EC2 instance is running perfectly fine. Now I wanted you all to access this. Will I be able to share, Abhishek? Will I be able to share something with them? Is it possible for me to share something with them? so that they can
Mm,
access?
not
Or what
likely
what
over here.
no issues. Everybody type in your browser 13.127, 13.127.226 and .24. Everybody, all of you can access, because I have selected anywhere. Please do it. You all will be able to access this server. This server is not only for Parul, Kundra and SpringPeople. We made it accessible for all of you. You type in your browser, in your mobile phone, in your laptop, 13.127.226.24. I'm very sure you are getting this HTML page. If you are getting, you please put in a chat yes or no, whatever your answers are. Fine. So this is what I tried my level best to explain you how to create servers. So I tried my level best to show you how to create servers. So now you see, my dear friends, now let me see whether this server is, let me refresh again. Yeah, this server is also healthy. Let me click here. Again, I'm getting public IP of my second server, 13.201.56 and 129. Let me copy this and let me paste this. Yeah. Hi, we are best training provider, SpringPeople. Fine. See, even my second server, which I've just created, is also working very fine. So you all can check this, 13.201.56 and 129. So I'm able to create my server. I'm able to create whatever I want. I'm able to create. Now, Parul, why you created that key pair? Can you please show us that also? Yes, definitely. I created key pair. Do you want me to connect that key pair? Yeah. So what? Okay, let's start then. So what I'll do, I'll use Putty. So I'll use Putty, which I have already installed in my system. So I'm using Putty. There are n number of methods. Here I'll be typing public IP and see which port I'm using, port 22. Okay. Then I'll go to plus sign of SSH, because I'm going to do SSH, not RDP. RDP is remote desktop protocol, which for my Windows. This is my Linux. I'll click on auth. Here it is asking me for my public key. No, for private key, sorry, the key which I have created. Let me click on browse. So this is SpringPeople key pair which I have created. Let me click on open. Let me click on accept. Login as default user is EC2 hyphen user, and let me press enter. Oh wow, I'm in Delhi. I'm connected to server in Mumbai, not in Mumbai, in entire world I can connect. Okay, now let me show you one thing. So what I'm a default user. So let me become a super user. So sudo su, I became a root user now. I'm a root user now. Now I wanted to install Apache. Yum install what? Apache httpd, the user data which I've used, and hyphen y is for yes. Let me press enter and see what I'm getting. Already installed. Yes, because in user data I have already installed it. So why it will again install? Because in my user data I have already installed it. Okay, second thing, Parul, I wanted to install MySQL. Okay, then type yum install, this is Linux command, MySQL hyphen y. Now, Parul, why hyphen y? Y is for yes. No, Parul, I don't want to give. Okay, don't give. After that, you have to give. Press enter. No. So, unable to find the match MySQL. Yum installed, in installed MySQL. I think something went wrong. No match. Oh, it might not be supporting. Okay, no issues. So, this is where, or let me try Docker. Yum install Docker. Docker is for containerized Docker hyphen y. Let me check it. Yeah, see, I'm installing Docker. So see this. So what am I doing? I'm accessing my system from via PuTTY, not via PuTTY. There are n number of methods via which you can connect. So what you can do, you can simply select a system, click on connect, go to EC2 connect. See, I told you by default user is EC2 hyphen user, click on connect. This is another method. There are multiple methods via which there are session manager. There are n number of methods which you can do. We cannot cover all these things in today's class, but yes, there are not only one method, there are n number of methods by which you can connect your systems. Now, coming back to the slide which I have promised. So let's complete the promise. So we came to this slide. Now, okay, Name and tag, is it clear or not? Yes, we have given name of system as SpringPeople and other tags also. Application and OS image, yes, Parul, we have selected Linux and we have selected some free tier Linux 2023. Now, do you know instance type and size? Yes, Parul, we know very well. There are 5 instance type, Parul: general purpose, storage optimized, compute optimized, accelerated computing, memory optimized, and their size also. What is this then? Yeah, Parul, this belong to compute family. Now we know everything. Do you know key pair? Yes, yes, Parul. For securely access your system, see, lock and key. So by default, you created key pair. With the help of key pair, you will be able to access your system. Yes. Network security, yes, 100% Parul. We know that. Parul, we created security group, and in that security group, we opened port 22 for SSH, remote access, and port 80 for accessing from browser. And we all have accessed Parul. So HTTP. Okay. Now, what is GP3? Parul is storage. This is nothing but EBS. And you informed us that EBS comes in two flavor: SSD and HDD, solid state drive and hard disk drive. But GP3 belongs to SSD. Yeah, Parul. Placement and tenancy, 100% Parul. There are three type of tenancy: shared tenancy, dedicated instance, and dedicated host. And let me tell you, Parul, dedicated host is costly. I said very, very good, excellent. And placement group, yeah, Parul, there are three type of placement group: cluster placement group, spread placement group, and partition placement group. User data, yeah, you just, user data, obviously you type yum install httpd and -y, you put this command in user data. Yeah, and metadata is the information about our system. Yeah, we know this slide. So now see the way of teaching. Imagine if I have taught you this slide first and explained you creation of system next, then it might be something, oh my god, what this, why this particular man is wasting our time. We are here to learn something and he is wasting our time. Now what I did, I first created a system. I talked on each and every single thing which is written in slide, and then I am showing you this slide. Now I am very sure from my side you must be comfortable. Now coming back, now you know this very well. Yes, Parul, this, see, Parul, this belongs to family, instance family, compute family. This sixth is generation, definitely. I is an additional property. I for Intel, A for AMD. Now, it could be additional. And 12x large is nothing but a size. So it could be micro, nano, X large, 10x large, 24x large. Yeah, so we know this. Yeah, we know family, general purpose, memory optimized, storage optimized, compute optimized, and accelerated computing. So we have an idea of this, because it's totally depend on what kind of workload we have. If we have if we have some data warehouse kind of things, we'll go and opt for a system storage optimized systems. If we have some batch processing kind of workload, we'll go with compute optimized. Similarly, there are different things which we can opt for. Tenancy, we have already discussed: shared tenancy, dedicated instance, and dedicated host. And even I have shown you pricing calculator, which was not part of today agenda, but I thought I should show you, because if you don't know tenancy, you don't know anything. I may be harsh in this sentence, but yes, trust me, because when I've shown you a pricing calculator, the first thing which it was asking you was what? The first thing it was asking you about the price. And if you are, it was asking you about tenancy. If you don't know tenancy, how will you able to help your organization? Then placement group, we talked on cluster placement group, where we are creating a cluster EC2 instances near to each other. What is placement group? With placement group, choose how close or far your instances are from each other. So if you are creating a cluster, you are using it for high performance computing. If you are using for spread, then you have a critical instance. Then you are using for some and such kind of workload where you don't want to lose your data. Medical health record system. If a patient is hospitalized and we have created cluster and that availability zone is down, we cannot say, sorry patient, we should have that record. No, so we cannot go with cluster in that case. And partition, we can go with a workload like Kafka, Hadoop, and Cassandra. Then EC2 pricing options. So we have basically three type of pricing options: on demand, saving plans, and spot instances. On demand, when you are giving no commitment. Means I went to Bangalore and I asked for a room. The man said, sir, how long you are going to stay? I said, I don't know. I may be leaving it tomorrow. I may be checking it out tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I don't have an idea. Okay, sir, 7,000 rupees per day. I went again, sir, how long you are going to stay? I'm going to stay here for 1 month. Sir, in that case, we can give you a handsome discount, sir. Sir, we can give you 30%, 40% discount. So on demand, when you are giving no commitment. So when you are not sure which system to use, you go with on demand, but they are costly. But when you are sure that what system you are going to use, then you have to give a commitment of 1 year or 3 year. Then you have to give a commitment of 1 year or 3 year. And if you are giving a commitment of 1 year or 3 year, then you are going to get a discount. What discount? 66% or 72 up to 72%. You see here in saving plans, there are two options. If you are going with compute saving plan, you get 66% of discount. And if you are going with EC2 saving plan, you get 72% of discount. If you are going with compute saving plan, if you're going with EC2 saving plan, you can change size. Let's say you went for 1 year of commitment. So if you wanted to change size, you can change size. You wanted to change OS, you can change OS. You wanted to change tenancy, you can change tenancy. See, again, if you don't know tenancy, how will you understand EC2 pricing option also? So you can change. But if you're going with compute saving plan, you want to change instance, family, you can change family also. From compute optimized to storage optimized to anything you wanted, you can go with, you can change it. You wanted to change size, you can change. You wanted to change OS, you can change OS. You wanted to change tenancy, you can change tenancy. That's why they are giving you less discount. You wanted to change availability zone, you can change availability zone. You wanted to change region. Hey, Parul, hey, AWS, we wanted to move from this Mumbai to Hyderabad. We wanted to change from Mumbai to Singapore. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So this is where saving plan can help you. So saving plan comes in two flavors. Now spot. What is a spot? One day I was sitting and Krishna, I am very sure Krishna joined first. So Krishna might be there in my audience. So Krishna came to me and said, Parul, I said, what happened, Krishna? Parul, I've created one Java application. I said, that's great. Congratulations. Then what is troubling you? Parul, I have created Java application and I want to test my application. I said, okay, then what happened? Then definitely, Parul, I will not go with saving plan. I said, why the hell? Why the hell anybody will go with saving plan? Because you wanted to test an application. And why would you give a discount of 1 year? Why would you give a commitment of 1 year or 3 year? Because you wanted to test your application. Krishna said, exactly, Parul, 100%. This is what I wanted to tell you. I said, then what happened? Parul, but when I'm going on demand, Parul, I want C6G.24x large. Okay, I said, okay, then what is troubling you? Parul, on demand is very costly. I asked only one question from Krishna. I said, Krishna said, yes, Parul. I said, Krishna, can your workload withstand interruption? That is your workload fault tolerant, flexible? Is your workload fault tolerant, flexible? If somebody stops you, will that be possible that you can accept all these things and you can start it later? 100%, Parul. I said, then why you are going with on demand? Go with spot. Here you get up to 90% of discount. And this is just a case of what? This is just a case of demand and supply gap. And if there is high supply but low demand and something which is available, then AWS can give you up for 90% of discount. You think of a situation when you go to a hotel. You go to a hotel and you ask for a room at 12 p.m. They might say that will cost you 7,000 rupees for one day, but you go to same hotel in evening 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. and you ask a same hotel that I want a room, they might can give you for 4,000, because at least they are earning 4,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, because if they don't give you for one day, they are losing everything. Similarly, spot is something like that. Fine. So you can get up to 90% of discount, but your workload should be fault tolerant. Fine. Spot itself is a big topic to discuss, so we cannot discuss more on it, but yes, it's a big topic to discuss. So that was all about pricing. So let me show you one more thing so that at least you be very happy today. So my dear friend, you type here AWS pricing calculator, AWS pricing calculator. Now let me teach you this also. So once you go with pricing calculator, now let's just give me 1 minute. So you want to create some estimate. So this is beauty. This is beauty of AWS. So which region you wanted to know the price? I wanted to know the price in Mumbai. Okay. So what is the service? I want to know the service EC2. Okay. Okay. So scroll down. So when you scroll down, okay. So when you scroll down, you click on configure on EC2. Now, so tenancy. So just, yeah, I'm choosing shared tenancy. Okay. Then which system? I'm going with Linux, Parul. What is your workload? I'm going with constant. How many instances? One instance, Parul. Okay. Then how many CPU? What instance you want? T4 Nano, T4, 2 CPU, 0.5 GB memory, T4G micro. I want to go with 2 T4G micro, Parul. Okay. Then okay. Then see the beauty. See the beauty. Payment options. See, if you are saving plan, if you're going with compute saving plan, they are giving you 66% of discount. So whatever I have mentioned in my slide is, and you have to give a commitment of 1 year or 3 year, which I told you. When you're going with saving plan, you have to give a commitment of 1 year or 3 year, no 2 year, 1 year or 3 year. You go with EC2 saving plan, you get 72 up to 72% of discount. If you go with spot, then see 71% is which is right now going. History is saying Parul in spot we are giving 71% of discount. So like this, you can have a pricing of everything. Fine. Now let's have a quick discussion on the last topic, and the last topic is Lambda. There is one participant in my class. His Her name is Swati. Swati said, Parul. I said, what? Just give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Let me read some. Yeah, we have Anas. So Anas said, uh, Parul. I said, yes. I don't wanted to create. I don't wanted to create EC2. I said, what went wrong? Anas said, Parul, EC2 is something which is so much operational overhead required. So much operational overhead required. So much operational overhead required. I said, what happened? Parul, you see, no, you give name and tag to your system. I said, okay. Then you have to give, select what instance you want, instance type. Then AMI, Linux, Mac, Ubuntu, whatever. Okay, I said, okay. Then Parul, those instance, after that, your networking comes. I said, yes. Then Parul, key pair. I said, yes. Then Parul, those tenancy and then user data. My God, Parul, let me tell you, Parul, I'm a coder. Anas said, Parul, I'm a coder and I cannot go with this operational overhead. I want something, I want to run my code without provisioning the server. Again, I'm repeating. He said, Parul, I want to run the code without provisioning the server. Don't want to go on this operational overhead, Parul. So is there any service in AWS which can help me, which can run my code? I said, definitely, you can go with Lambda. So Lambda is a serverless service where you need not to perform anything. And you can create, you can run your code. So let me show you the tagline. So here I'm in my AWS console. You type here Lambda, Lambda, Lambda. You read it. Run code without thinking about servers. This is what Anas was looking for. Anas said 100% Parul, I was looking for this only. I wanted to run my code without thinking of servers. So I don't like EC2. I said, okay, for that, you can go with Lambda. So when I click, so Lambda, when you are doing computing with virtual server, so you are taking care of servers also, and you are taking care of code also. But now Anas is only going with serverless computing, where he's only focusing on code, business logic, and all infra part is taken care by AWS. So it's a highly available service and fully managed by AWS. Now, what is Lambda? Lambda is a serverless compute service. So it's a compute service, and it support different languages which you can read it in front of you: Node, Java, Python, Go, PowerShell, Ruby, and more. Limitation is that it can run up to 15 minutes of time only. So execution time it support till today it's 15 minutes only, and it support 10 GB of memory. So these are limitations of your Lambda. But yes, Lambda is something which is a serverless service. Now, Paul, what this figure is, Lambda is nothing but a function code. Lambda is nothing but a function code, and Lambda need to be invoked because function, if you know languages, we write function in our language. So I have created one function in Python, and that I'm invoking from a service, and that service is event source service. So that will invoke Lambda, and then in done, Lambda will access some other service. So what I for you today, I've created one lab. So I will take 5 more minutes. So what I did, I created one lab. So what is lab? I created one S3 bucket, a storage device. Whenever I'm inserting something in my bucket, it is invoking Lambda, and Lambda is making a statement, writing everything in DynamoDB. Let's say you wanted to keep a track of, let's say what happened, you wanted to keep a track of inventory. Whenever something come to a shop, some person is there who writes entry on a table. So you see, when you go to a medical shop, you look for a medicine. So you look for a medicine, they say, hey, sir, we have five strips available, we have no strips available, we have five pieces available. Similarly, whenever you are something in a storage, so this is going to invoke Lambda. So this is a AWS service, which is S3. So it's an event source service, and this is going to invoke Lambda, and for Lambda I have written a Python code, and it is going to access another service, which is a DynamoDB. What is DynamoDB? A NoSQL table. So let me show you that also. See the beauty of it. Now let me show you that. So this is the Lambda function which I have created. You can see a Lambda I have created, and the name of Lambda is SpringPeople Lambda function. So this is Lambda, and this is the code I have written. And in DynamoDB table, I have created one table name is SpringPeople, and everything which I am doing is putting, it is DynamoDB put item, everything. What is the size of item, what is the name of item, at what time I have inserted, everything. It will make an entry where in a DynamoDB table. So I have created one DynamoDB table also. So where is my DynamoDB? Let me click on DynamoDB. So DynamoDB, let me click on DynamoDB. So I'll show you one DynamoDB table also. So I've created one DynamoDB table also. So see this. So let me show you DynamoDB. Let me click on tables. So you can see SpringPeople table I have created. Let me show you SpringPeople table, and let me explore the item, that is select star from table. So right now there is no item. There is no item in my table. Now what I did, I created a scenario whenever I'm putting something in my bucket. So which bucket? My bucket is SpringPeople bucket. Let me close this. So this is my SpringPeople bucket. And in the SpringPeople bucket, whenever I'll put something, it will invoke Lambda function, and Lambda will write entry in DynamoDB table. So I've already inserted one. Let me insert one new information. So let me click on add files. So I'm adding one file. So let's say I'm adding employee 4 file. Fine. So I'm adding employee 4 file. I clicked on employee 4, and let me click on upload. So what I did, everyone. So what I did this. I created one bucket, SpringPeople bucket. There I have inserted some data, employee 4 image. It might have triggered Lambda function, and Lambda might have made entry in DynamoDB table. So let's go and check that. Then go and check DynamoDB table. So this is my DynamoDB table. Let me refresh it. It will take some time. Just wait for a few minutes, and you will see one entry will automatically come here. So this is what I wanted to talk on Lambda. There is so much to discuss on Lambda, but yes, we are here for an overview on Lambda. Just give me some minute, some time. Let me check that whether data is uploaded or not. So let me click on close. Yeah, employee 4 is uploaded in a bucket, and the name of bucket is SpringPeople bucket. So when I entered something, it might have invoked Lambda according to this slide. You see this slide. So when I've inserted something, it might have invoked Lambda. I've shown you a Python code, and then it will make an entry in DynamoDB. So let me go and check DynamoDB table again. This is my Dynamo. Yeah, very correct. See this. Wow. So this is bucket. What is bucket name? SpringPeople bucket. What is the event happened? Put event. Put means I have uploaded something. Okay. What time? See, it is showing you time also. Oh, this time. Okay. Then what is the object? Object is employee 4. Very correct. And what is the size? This is size in bytes. Yeah. So this is what we did. So like this Lambda, you can. So now I'm asking one question from all of you. Have I created any server to run my code? No, I'm just running my code without provisioning a server. So run your code without thinking of servers is all about, Lambda. So it's all about Lambda. Let me come here, Lambda. Fine. So now over to you, Abhishek. Hi, Abhishek.
Thank you, Parul, for your invaluable insights on technology. I'm sure it was certainly a very informative session for all of you. If you guys are interested in learning more about various compute in AWS, do check out our super discounted batches for virtual instructor-led trainings on our website, springpeople.com. These VILT trainings are leveraged online from the comforts of your home and flexible as per your schedule and location. If you do not find any suitable batches, we would be happy to discuss and schedule private batches for you. If you don't have time to join live online, then do try out our affordable self-paced courses. For more information, do write to us at training@springpeople.com or call on our number displayed on the current slide. Now we will open the forum to answer questions that we have received during the session. So let's get our questions answered. Over to you, Mr. Parul.
Thank you, Abhishek. So let me see. So I'm getting someone has replied on my question itself. Okay, then I cannot see any questions. I'm waiting if you can put some question which is coming in your mind. I'll be happy to answer the questions. Yep. Anything which is coming to your mind, anything which you wanted to know, anything. Or let me put one question. So if we do not select any placement group, then what is by default placement group? If we do not select any tenancy, by default it is shared tenancy. So if we do not select any placement group, when will create auto scaling? So this is the question which I can see. Okay. So when we create auto scaling when, so no, see, there are various scenarios. So I gave you one scenario. When traffic increases, let's say we are, if you are from India, you know very well, irctc.com, you know very well that when irctc start its emergency services from 10 to 11, or I don't know, from 11 to 12, during that time traffic increases, during sale period traffic increases, on weekends traffic increases. So there are different scenarios when traffic increases, so we should be ready to handle that traffic. In that case, we have to have number of servers, number of storage devices which can handle those traffic. In that case, in that scenarios, we'll go with auto scaling. Yep. Any other questions? If it is coming to your mind, you can ask. Will be able to change tenancy. So you wanted to change our tenancy. So the question is from Sherry. Yeah, you will be according to the plans which I told you. I told you three plans, which I told you about when I was talking about pricing module. So when I was talking about pricing module, so we discussed saving plan. So in saving plan, I showed you the option also. So yes, I have selected T2 micro. Now, okay, identity to integrate with third party. Instance ID is the unique identity to integrate with third party. Yeah. Yes, correct. Exactly correct. It's a unique ID. Like we have, ARNs, Amazon resource name. Every device has their unique ARN numbers. Fine. For instance, we have IDs. Let me show you. Let me show you the bucket. This is the bucket. If you go to the property sections, if you go to a property section, you can see this is a ARN number of this bucket. Amazon resource name. Like this, for compute, we have uh, identity. So that is instance ID. Now my question from all of you is that if I've selected T2 micro, now I wanted to change from T2 micro to, let's say, C5 G24X large. Can I do that? I created one system with T2 micro, and after one day I realized, no, I don't want this. I want a C5GX large. Can I do this or I can't do this? Please, I'm waiting for your response. Yes, no, whatever is your answer. Okay. If you use 10 EC2, now reduce this time which EC2 did it first. Yeah. What about my question, which I have yes, no, what your responses are? Can I do that? Let me show you one thing also. See this. This is very important. Comes in in your somebody can ask you in your interviews and all. So let me show you this. If you wanted to, let's say I have created EC2 instance and I wanted to change this instance type. So you select an instance, you go to action, you go to instance setting, and here it is saying it is disabled, change instance type. You know why? Because system is running. So I can change, yes, when system is stopped. So what do? You go to instance, stop the server, stop the instance. Once it is in a stopped state, let me show you. Once it is in a stopped state, the change instance option will get enabled. Just wait for 30 seconds more and I'll be showing you that also. So there are various important questions. So it's stopping now. Yeah, it's stopped. So let me go to action. Let me go to instance setting. Now you can see change instance type, select that. From T2 micro, whatever I want, I can. So there are so many options I'm having. So if I want, I can go and change this. So this is all about from my side, Abhishek. Hi, Abhishek.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. We shall be sending out the webinar recording to all the participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events. Thanks again for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team Spring People. Hope to see you again for our next expert webinar. Thank you and goodbye.